Okay, welcome back to our latest edition of Sportmotive. We're going to show you around the workshop again, show you what we've been doing. We're going to focus quite a bit on body shop work in this video, as we've just repainted this Sagaris. That's sort of full, all panels off repaint, so we'll show you that in progress. And at some point we're going to nip up to the body shop and show you what's going on up there. I'll just do the usual walk around the workshop first and show you what mechanical servicing work we've got on, projects we've got on. So Tony's V8S that we look after, that we featured the repaint in a previous video. We've done pretty much everything we can to this car now. It was its original 4 litre. Tony wants a bit more power, so we've managed to get him a quite low mileage 4.5 TVR Rover V8 from a Chimera. So we're just giving that a refresh, a new cam, and then that'll be going in. And then it'll need probably a remap again at Jules. This Griffith is Pat's, a local guy who's not long had it. Come in losing coolant and losing power steering fluid. And we discovered that the main hose from the reservoir to the pump was loose on the reservoir, so it was leaking its oil. As soon as we picked the reservoir up, it was just leaking the power steering fluid out. So that's an easy fix. However, the radiator is beyond repair. It's leaking down both sides, so it's got to have a recore. So we're just about to send off a donor radiator to be recored, and we get them done local, and we have a 3-row core put on those now rather than the original 2-row, so that improves cooling as well. Got some quite interesting exhaust on there. He bought that with those on, and it's got the Motorclan spiders, 17-inch spiders, so we put those on. I think that was the first set we fitted last year, actually. This Chimera is one we've just started looking after. So customer lives out Cheshire way. He's brought it to us and asked us to go through it. So it had got cooling issues as well, but that was just hoses. So it had a burst hose that the AA had repaired at the side of the road, and he kind of left it like that, so it was still losing coolant. So we fixed all that now. It's had a ACT coolant hose kit, and it's now having a full suspension rebuild with Powerflex bushes and a full service. Next, this is a Chimera we're about to start building. This is the chassis that we showed you in the chassis special, where we compared it with our Evolution chassis. So that's a standard Chimera chassis that's been repaired in our jig. It's had new outriggers, triple coat, powder coat system, and we're just about to, as I say, start to put that back together now. All new wishbones and all the other parts powder coated at the same time. Moving on, Tony's Tuscan that we showed you previously that needed an engine rebuild. So engine's back in now. Simon's rebuilt the engine for us. Quite a nice, easy, straightforward refresh. With it being a later engine, the head was all okay. It did need cams, and then obviously bearings, rings, and a hone and a crank polish, and bearings and seals, and pretty much went back together. Even though it's done 70-odd thousand miles, it was quite a good engine. So a good conclusion to that story. Another V8S, Clives that we look after. We did a front end repaint on that last year. We serviced that regularly. He'd come in because he was starting to get real trouble getting gears, and he was assuming he was going to have a gearbox rebuild. So we did actually book it in to get the gearbox out, which is quite difficult on these. It's an engine out, gearbox out, to get the gearbox out. But we lifted it up first to assess it before we started pulling it apart, and we discovered that the shifter mechanism sits on a little cradle on top of the gearbox. It's carried on 4 pins that have got polyurethane bushes in between, and those bushes had completely disintegrated, so the carrier was just rattling around. Couldn't get any gears at all. So we've replaced those bushes, put it back together, and it's all good now. So another good story. So last time we filmed, the white Cerberus was still here. We finally got that gone now. As we said, we were struggling with the wiring fault, and we ended up sending it up to X-Works. So Heath and Paul took that on for us, and Paul very kindly found the fault with it, and it had basically lost its main feed to the steering ECU. It's still got its ignition feed, so which is what was confusing, as we'd still got everything working, but when you turn the ignition on, everything started to work. The lights would flash, the wipers would go, nothing would turn off, and it was doing all these crazy things. So they figured that out. It had lost its, like I say, main feed to the steering ECU. They've repaired that now, and the customer's due to get that back from Paul and Heath at X-Works. So thanks to them for figuring that out for us. You'll also notice that the T350 that we showed you that had come in for just a service needed a water pump, that left yesterday, so we got that done. We had the engine out. Simon replaced the water pump in that, and we found the issue with it. So this is the water pump from that engine. So this is the internal chain-driven water pump inside the engine that was in the T350, and the famous ceramic seal that we talked about. It's not actually a ceramic seal, it's a ceramic carrier that has got 2 rubber seals inside it, and the problem with it was this needs to be inserted, and then it's actually preloaded so that it compresses the seal, and for some reason that wasn't done. It was just placed in basically, so that, and it's held in with 2 bearings and then the impeller shaft that runs through it. So yeah, £90 worth of parts for an engine pull and a rebuild basically. So, but all done now, and went out, as I say, yesterday. A long-term projects that we've talked about before, so Nick's Project Rocket LT4 powered Evolution chassis Chimera. We're finally getting into it now, and going to start making some progress. We showed you the cooling pack that Andy at IceFab had made us previously, but we'd got a bit over ambitious with the size of the intercooler for the supercharger we originally spec'd on it. So we've reduced the depth of the whole package really. Andy had originally made quite a deep frame for the fans, and so he's reduced that quite a bit down now. We've got about 10 mil out of that, and then as I say, we've had to reduce the supercharger cooler. Not reduced its capacity dramatically, because he's gone slightly taller with the core and then slightly shallower, so that's just reduced the amount it's going to stick forward through into the car. So we're just on with cutting the fiberglass now and welding the frame up that's going to carry the cooling pack, because as we said, we're building a steel frame for that. And then we will start to, once we've done that, we need to take the body off again so that we can do all the plumbing, the brake lines, the fuel lines on the chassis again, and then we're going to do the underside of the body tub, prep it all, paint underside, do all the heat shields, and then the body can go finally back on. So we're just in this bit of a process of off and on while we make that fit. Bit of chicken and egg before we can actually take it off and put it on permanently. This Chimera is one we've not looked after before. It's just come to us. It's previously had a top end rebuild and coming tapping away again, so it's a hydraulics lifter issue or cam issue, so we're just starting to pull that apart now just to assess it for the customer, just to see where it's at. It's done about 5,000 miles since it was done previously, but we're pretty sure what we know we're going to find, because there's some suspect hydraulic lifters out there that we've been suffering for years now, Chinese hydraulic lifters that don't last 5 minutes, they're not properly hard, and we're going to show you some that we took out of a previous engine. So we're pretty sure that's what that's going to be, so it might end up needing a cam again and lifters. Back onto the Sagaris that we've just painted. So we used to look after this car about 10 years ago. We'd not seen it for quite a long time, and when we used to look after it, it only got about 8,000 miles on it. It's now got 20 on it. It's obviously still low, and it's been through a couple of hands since then, but Steve, the guy that owns it now, I think he's put about 10,000 miles on it. And he brought it to us initially just for front end paint. It was starting to get a bit chippy at the front, but when we looked around it, it had quite a few bits of paint work done, and it was a few different shades of red, and it got bits of micro blistering on the helmet pump in the roof. Lenses were not in particularly good condition, bit of damage on the rear diffuser. So we talked about it, and we eventually came to the decision that just it needed a full repaint really. It was a lovely car to start with, and you know, you'd look at it and think it didn't really warrant it, but when you started to delve into it, it was how far you're going to go with it. It warranted doing so. So It's had a full, all panels off, repaint, everything's been disassembled, which is quite tricky in the Sagaris because there's lots of different little bits, the teeth, the lower splitters, the bonnet vents. There's quite a bit of repair to do in the centre bonnet. The frame had cracked either side. And as they usually do, these flaps were fouling the bonnet frame, so we've gapped everything, made everything fit properly. Trimmed the back of the bonnet where they always foul the wiper arms so that it didn't take the paint off straight away as soon as we'd finished it. So lots of little detail things like that. All new lenses, 4 new lenses. Motorclan had still got lenses, so we were able to get those and fit those. Fair bit of work in making them fit and painting them. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how well that's turned out, as is Steve, the owner. So it's just waiting now to go up to Nick at Max Car Care, who's going to do a full PPF on it. And that's going in a week or so's time. So we've got to keep it in here pristine while it waits for its trip up to there. So this episode's non-TVR interloper. It's a Gardner Douglas factory built Cobra. Come to us because it's got an LS engine in, and we're obviously quite renowned for our LS conversions and what we do with LS. So it's got a few issues, mainly throttle pedal issues, which is quite a common thing. Throttle pedal and throttle body. We're not quite sure what it's going to be yet, either one of those or wiring two. So it's got an intermittent throttle problem. It's quite a nice car. It's, as I say, it's a factory built Gardner Douglas, which is one of the better, well, supposedly the best Cobra kit. And a nice LS2 sitting in there. He's also got a couple of cooling issues which he wants us to investigate. We're going to have a look at that whole cooling system, the header tank and the radiator. And it might just be a thermostat issue, and it just needs a thermostat and bleeding up. As I say, new customer just come to us. A previous TVR owner moved on to Cobra. So that's everything we've got in the service workshop at the moment. We're going to shoot up to the body shop now and show you what we've got going on up there. So off we go up to the body shop in my daily hack now. This is my daily drive to and from between the two units. Now in the C63. So we'll do a little review of the C63 for our TVR channel. Yes, I've always wanted one of these. I'm a bit of a Mercedes fanatic, obviously, and always hankered after one of these. Couldn't really justify having one, but now the Tuscan's gone. This can be my daily driver and my sports car all rolled in. And I've always been a bit old school, so this is quite new technology for me. I would never have had an automatic. I would always look for a manual, rear-wheel drive manual V8. That's the recipe. But they don't do these in manuals, and there's a reason why. I think this MCT gearbox in this, you cannot change faster than that can change gear. And when we get going, I'll show you why. So it's got 3 driving modes. So they're like gearbox mode. So it's got comfort, which is just when you're pottering around town and you to and from work, and it's got sport and then sport plus. So I kind of don't really see the need for sport, because once you've experienced sport plus, you just drive it in sport plus all the time. One of the things I'm really impressed with about this is the traction is so soft. It's not a harsh cut. So like say I've had BMWs where M3s where you pull out of a junction and you get it too much and it's completely just cuts the throttle and you're halfway across a junction and you've stopped, whereas this, it doesn't do that. And it's got sports handling mode as well, which turns it down slightly. So I've tried that, and that gives you a little bit more slip, but it's always in control of it. You can get these with an optional, like a sports pack comes with an LSD, and I really wanted an LSD, but they're really rare. And obviously, probably then I'd be turning it off completely. And I am contemplating an LSD, because Quaife do an aftermarket LSD. It almost feels like it's got an LSD, to be honest. It locks both wheels. It seems to lock both wheels up and off you go. There's no real cut, no drama, and it just goes. So we're in comfort now. We're going to join the A50, so I'll just pop it. And obviously it's got manual mode as well. We're in Sport Plus now. To not get over the noise it makes. It's a family estate car. If you turn your head to the side so that you get in the exhaust, it makes your ears hurt. And if you have the sunroof open and you give it some, it makes your ears hurt. And yeah, that downshift. So it just changes gears so crisply. You couldn't just do that manually that fast. But it's the downshift that really gets me when it's in Sport Plus mode. If I'm decelerating and it knocks two cogs off and blips the throttle in between and keeps you in the power band, it's almost like it's sensing what you're doing. It's mad. So the tunnel. Oh no, look, just so happens there's a standard C-Class sitting behind us. We haven't really got much of a run there, have we? So, knock a cog off just in preparation. The handling as well, so we'll go right around this roundabout. I mean, I thought the S4 handled well being a Quattro, but this it's like 20% more. Okay, so here we are back in the body shop in the fabrication workshop. We thought we'd just give you a quick preview. So that was a Evolution chassis. That's chassis number 9 that we showed some time ago, and we're now on chassis number 10. So this is mid-progress. Main backbone is made, and we're now loading on the wishbone pickup points and the damper mounts. So we thought that would just be quite interesting to see the jig arrangement and how those go on. So downstairs now, my old Tuscan, now John's Tuscan. As I said previously, when we sold it, we were going to do a few bits of paint work on it. So it's now completed, just literally finished, about to go back down to the service shop to get a few other bits and pieces sorted before he has it. So we've painted the roof, the lid, the windscreen pillars, the bits that get knocked when you're taking the roof off, basically. And John wanted the bonnet conversion with nitro lift, so we've done that. And we've painted front lower bonnet and front grille, just all the bits that were a bit chipped. And we're just going to do selective PPF, so that small bonnet's going to get covered, and a few bits around the roof where they get damaged when you're taking the roof on and off. Which is why it's not got its badge on yet, because it's going to get the bonnet PPF'd. So we're looking a bit bare in here at the moment because we've just finished the Sagaris, which has gone down to the service shop. We've got two other cars in, two Chimeras, both with front end damage that we're repairing, insurance work. So both these cars had minor front bumps, not significant enough to need complete front ends on, but fairly significant that they needed quite a bit of fiberglass work. So they've had all the cracks cut out. We did have to make a section for this corner because that was quite badly damaged, which is why that's kind of been repaired initially, because we made a section for that and let that in. Then we've gone after and redoing the cracks. They've cracked there on a split line in the original mould, and then obviously that will get a full front repaint. Another front end damaged Chimera in the booth. Similar sort of damage to the other one. And we'll show you some pictures of this as it came in and the pictures of it being repaired. But that's all ready now. All the fiberglassing's done, a very minor little skim of filler where needed just to bring the surface up, and then it's just ready for its first coats of resin primer now. So that will get resin primer coats, then it will get flatted again, then primed again before it gets painted. So this is a Cerberus we've recently repaired. It came in, obviously been rear-ended, so non-fault claim. Insurance company paid out no quibble whatsoever, well within value, the repair. And we happen to have an original rear end section and a boot lid. Always like repairing cars with original TVR fiberglass rather than aftermarket panels, just purely because they're old and well dried. Old fiberglass always makes for an easier repair. So we cut the complete rear end off this and stitched the new one on, and then obviously everything went back to fiberglass before we started the repaint procedure. So it then gets a resin coat primer, which is flatted, and then full two-part primer, flatted again before final painting. We did have to go quite a bit further than we were hoping for with the paint on this, just to get everything to match. So we did actually paint more than the insurance company would allow us to paint, but we had to do it to complete the job basically. So we ended up painting the doors and the complete roof, just so that we got somewhere to blend the colour into. But yeah, all in all, quite a nice job. In and out in 8 weeks and back on the road, ready for the rest of the summer. And there we are, finally finished, looking resplendent in its BMW Atlanta blue. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you on the next one. Is that same builder we came up on when we were in the Tuscan? On board the scaffolding. I bet you it is. See, like, I couldn't change gear like that. Oh, look, there's the Rosas there, so we'll just can't be doing. We're going to shoot up to the body shop now, and we're going to nip up there and me C63. Me C63. So again, don't put that in the outtakes. That was proper Stokey then, that was. John wanted the bonnet conversion, so we've done the natural lift bonnet conversion. Yeah. So there we have it. Thanks for watching again. Like and subscribe if you like what you watched, like what you saw. Got up at the end, didn't I? Okay, so there we have it. Thanks for watching again. Like and blah, 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 blah.